My name is Niki Lindroth von Bahr, and I'm from Stockholm, Sweden, and I am an animation director. It was a little bit of it wasn't a completely straight path. I mean, I actually started out as a prop maker. I studied prop making and set design in, up north here in Sweden, and I was like very interested in building things and building little sets and also building puppets. And I also have this love for film and like the film media and for like narration and storytelling. I still don't know what I want to do, to be honest. It feels like I'm just, like what do I want to do? Like, yeah, I'm making another film. I mean, I don't have any of those like 5-10 year ahead plans for anything really, but I do think that I was really meant to do something creative. Yeah, I don't know. I have a big need to express myself creatively, but then it feels like things kind of just happened. When I started to study as a prop maker, I thought that was what I was going to be, like making things for stage and for films. But I think I realized that I had a need for expressing myself as well, and not only working for other people. But I think working with stop motion animation is really my way of expressing myself, because I love to create these worlds and characters, and I love to tell stories, and this is how I ended up. When I studied prop making and set design here in Sweden, I did a sort of exam work that was actually like a film, more like a marionette puppet film. But then that film got into a few like film festivals, which I never really expected it to do, or and I didn't really had that ambition with that film. I think that was some kind of eye-opener to me, that like I really wanted to work in the film industry, that I got really excited about. It was a little bit of a turning point when I realized that like I think I want to do my own films instead of just building things for other people's projects. It is really like a big thing to get accepted into like a big film festival, since most of us indie filmmakers like work with short films. Short films, they only have that kind of life. I mean, what you can do with a short film is to sort of, at best, screen it at good festivals. So that's like, festivals are very important in that sense, compared to like feature films that you can actually make some money from. When I'm making a film, I plan that quite a lot, like which festivals I should try and apply to, and like in what order, and I mean, that is a sort of a strategy that, like, whether you like it or not, you need to be a part of, because that's all you have as a filmmaker. Otherwise it's like, okay, I can sort of release it online and hope for the best, but I mean, I'm not even sure what is the best. I mean, it is also a very nice opportunity to meet an audience. When I made this part of the Netflix anthology The House, I mean, of course that film is by far my most watched project, but that's also so like it's so anonymous. I mean, like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, I mean, when you don't meet an audience, because I never did. I mean, that's kind of in the Netflix work, we didn't really travel to many festivals with that film. It just got sort of released online, and it's so anonymous, and it's so nice and beautiful to be able to meet real people at festivals, and like to feel the atmosphere in a cinema, like when your film is being screened, and yeah. I'm not like against working with commercials. Like I've done that a few times, but it's I feel that it's quite hard for me to, because I have a certain style and I wouldn't really want to use that style in any sort of commercial format. I mean, I try to make money from other things rather than using my own like personal style for selling products. It's also a great way of like having a good budget and making something funny and or like nice in a very short time, and you can work with like great professionals, because that usually those commercial budgets are so different. But so I'm a little bit torn in between. I'm not saying that everyone would want my art as commercials anyway. It's not that I'm so wanted within the commercial industry, but I am a little bit protective of my artistic style. When I make my films, I also make installations from the films as like exhibitions, like art exhibitions in different galleries. And so I'm also like, I have sort of one leg within the sort of fine art business as well. So I'd rather go there or like a little bit more towards art than towards commercials. But, you know, also like you need to live, of course. And it's not, I mean, I've had quite big success with my previous films, but it's still hard. I mean, it's still hard to pay the rent from time to time. I mean, like not always, but it's not a sort of relaxed working life. I think I do it because I kind of need to. It takes so much time, it's like so complicated because of these big sets and the animation and like the lights and the space. And I mean, it does kind of match my personality quite a lot, because I like to work very hard. And I mean, I think I need to sort of stay sane. Adrenaline kind of situations and sort of live on the edge and like having this kind of action-filled work life, whether it's a good thing or not, that I sort of put myself into those situations. It's like I come back to that all the time. So it's I think it's something that my sort of brain is choosing whether I like it or not. It's been great in many ways. I mean, like I've got to like, you know, accept a lot of you know, awards for my films, and I got to travel a lot. It's been fantastic. But I mean, I've also been lucky, I think, because not all films are picked up like many of my films have been. And I mean, you can still make genius films but not getting that sort of success. This has not been for free, like physically or mentally for me, but it's also been very rewarding, definitely, and it's been a big part of my life, and I feel very thankful for that, because that doesn't happen to anyone. I think I get inspired by like just our sort of current, you know, our current society, and just like the times that we live in, because I feel that is quite a big part of my, you know, my stories, that the story sort of takes place in a sort of contemporary world with all the sort of madness that comes with that. I mean, I'm very interested in right now, with this sort of just, yeah, with the sort of very, the madness and like darkness, but also sort of the silliness that this world has to offer right now, in different ways. I usually get ideas from actual like environments, like places. That's always like the first that comes to me, like in my previous films, like a shopping center in the Burden, or like a public worn-down bathhouse in Bathhouse, and places that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, I would say. They scare me a little bit, but they also sort of fascinate me, and I think it's a little bit sort of, also a little bit of a therapy thing for me to choose this very sort of boring, weird place and then like rebuild it in and put like super much love and care into like rebuilding all of these tiny details. So I kind of start with like a place and a certain atmosphere, and then I kind of try and fill it up with characters, and characters being more like exposed to a situation or an atmosphere, that characters that could be more like you or me or anyone else. Like it's not, I don't follow characters so much. I don't write like from a character's point of view really, which is interesting because I think it works pretty good in short films. But now, for example, I'm developing a feature script, and in the feature you really need to. There are like the rules are a bit different because you need to have a little bit more of a relationship to a character in the film or a few characters. I think it's hard to get away from. So I'm working on that to sort of engage in my characters. In a short film, you can work with only like a feeling or like an atmosphere or like a situation, and you don't. I think it's not really gaining you at all, to be honest, to work with a real sort of story with a like real beginning and ending. I think usually those short films are less good to me. I mean, like do not try to sort of squeeze in an entire classical story into a short film. I think it's better to find something that sort of itches a little bit and use that. So it's a very different way of writing a short film compared to write on a feature, because I've always been so like, this sort of, classical like ways of telling a story. Blah, I don't need that. Like that's boring. But then like once you're in this feature developing situation, it's like, yeah, I think even like it doesn't matter how art house you aim to be, you still have those like very conservative ways of telling a story. In the the basics of it are still the same. But I really like as well the ways that you can just be very free when working on a short film. I think that short films in general are a little bit hard to. It's a weird format somehow to me as well. I mean, like I love to work with my short films, and it's also like a matter of finances and stuff. Like when it's animation, it's so crazy expensive. So I mean, that's really what you can do usually if you're not like Pixar. Great short films are amazing, and I mean I think there are like many features that I've seen that works a lot better as short film. It is an art form that is like really really interesting and really great. It's just that the how to package it and how to screen it, it's challenging still. My theme is quite a lot a sort of, it is usually sort of a comment, some kind of comment on our current world, our sort of contemporary society and the craziness about it, because it's something that I think a lot about. I also like to work with this kind of, with contrast, like to sort of, to contrast sort of a quite dark story, perhaps. I like dark stories. I like darkness quite a lot. I gravitate towards dark themes. But then I also tell stories with this filter of like silly-looking animals. There is some kind of humor into it, some kind of dark humor as well. I actually like try to make films like I want it to be darker. I want it to be more like scary, but then I also think that it's fun to add funny details or like humorous layers on it, because it's also like that's just like how the world is to me as well. It's like it's so much darkness, and it's so a bit sort of silly and a little bit funny, and we need to just like kind of laugh about it as well. I would like to make a feature, and I'm developing something right now, and I hope to be able to actually go into production sometime. Feels like, in one way it feels impossible, but on the other side it also, sometimes it just feels that it's more impossible to make like less money but still some money for a short film than it is to actually raise money for a feature. Who knows? It would be really fun. I do think that animation is very interesting, and it's a fascinating way of working. But like for me personally, I think it's more about, it's a way of working that I love. I love to rebuild reality like I'm doing now, to actually like build things in an analog way and also tell stories. It's interesting that you can actually create like moving images like just from your own brain. It's very uncensored, like you don't need a big team. I mean, this, what I do, I did early on, I just did it in my own little basement myself with like small pieces of material that I glue together. I mean, it doesn't need to be super expensive, or I mean, if you just have the time or have the, I mean, then you can do something that's completely unfiltered compared to bigger like projects that demands like bigger teams and bigger money and stuff. So even though animation is expensive, it can be something that you just do on your own, in your own room. Like it's so it can, like, I think it can be so interesting to actually like step into someone's brain like that. It's an unfiltered way of telling a story, which can also be like horrifying, but it's fascinating. I really hope that we who work with independent animation are able to continue to do that, because it's such an ancient and interesting way of working, and it feels like somehow it feels like it's the highest form of civilization somehow, that like we as humans are like making copies of ourselves and like enacting ourselves, but in a miniature version. Like this meta layer is so interesting. I think it's something you can only do as a human being, and it says something about humanity.